Hey, welcome to the Sports Reverends podcast. My name is Dan.
And my name's Drew.
We're no experts, but we are
the Sports Reverends.
Yo, we are back for the Sports Reverends podcast. How you guys doing?
I am enjoying the heat wave we got going on here.
Woo!
Loving it.
How about you, Christoph?
I am not enjoying the heat wave as much as you are. But yeah, I'm sort of waiting for it to be over. It's supposed to storm this weekend, so hopefully that drops the humidity a little bit.
A little bit.
But yeah, it's nice.
What's going on, Dan?
The Toronto Heat's supposed to be going for the next 10 days.
Wow.
So 30s and above, and it's huge.
You're stuck inside, hey?
No, man, I'm gonna be hanging outside. It's gonna be a good week.
COVID.
Yeah, well, you know how it is. Let's hit some of our quick hitter news from the sports world. Kobe Bryant named first 2K athlete with special Mamba Forever cover for this year. He's also joining Damian Lillard and Zion as the two other cover athletes.
Yusuf Nurkic has been officially allowed to participate in Orlando once the season restarts.
Sorry, say it again, Drew.
Just go to the next one.
The NFL dropping down to 2 preseason games for the upcoming year. It could be dropped to 1 or 0 games in the near future.
That's wild.
NBA might create a second bubble in Chicago for the 8 teams that aren't in the playoffs.
The Blue Jays have received exemption from federal government and will begin training camps in Toronto.
And Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert have mended the relationship and are looking forward to the playoffs. And now a word from our sponsors.
Have you ever thought about how well your investments are performing? Have you wanted to understand how the stock market works and how you can look after your financial future, but have been unsure of where or even how to get started? Train to Invest is North America's leading investment education and training corporation with the sole purpose of providing a new way of thinking about wealth management. Through teaching, training, and coaching individuals in both the art and science of self-directed investing, Train to Invest offers a complete education and training experience to empower families to begin their journey of planning for future generations through investment education. To find out more, look at www.traintoinvest.com and download our free ebook. Again, www.train2invest.com to find more information about our program and download our free ebook.
All right, we are back. And I got a bone to pick with you two.
Oh,
last episode, you guys took advantage of when I was talking about top tier teams in the NFL. And just because I didn't say the Cowboys doesn't mean I don't think the Cowboys are a top tier team. All right, they are a top tier team. And you guys should know. You should know how a championship team works. All right, it's not going to be just sprinting right out of the starting gate. All right, you have to crawl before you can walk. You got to walk before you can run. You got to run before you can sprint. Okay, and this is how the Cowboys are going to have their season, and they're going to go all the way to the Super Bowl. That's what I really believe, and they're going to be a legitimate contender this year. Look at that offensive line. Look at the new weapons they have. They have a defense that's going to be way better than last year. New coaching. Finally, we got a new coach that will actually speak into the microphone instead of be quiet the whole game. And the Cowboys are really going to be there. So I don't want to hear it from you two saying that I do not think that the Cowboys are a top-tier team.
Okay,
what do you have to say?
To rebuttal you a little bit, it took you 2 days to figure this out. So obviously they're not that good. And your whole coaching statement, Mike McCarthy?
No, it didn't take me 2 days.
It took you 2 days.
It didn't take me 2 days.
Couldn't figure it out. You couldn't figure it out on Tuesday, so you needed all of Canada today to figure it out.
No.
Coaching, okay. Who's their coach?
What?
Who is their coach? What's his name? Just say his name.
You can make your argument. Make your own argument.
I'm just asking you to say his name. Just say his
No,
name.
make your argument.
Do you not
I
know
know
the
the
coach's
coach's
No,
name?
I know the coach's name. Say the argument, Joel.
How many rings?
I
has
want
that
you to
coach
make your
won?
argument. You always ask me to
How many?
say your answers for your argument. Say your
Has
argument.
that guy won a NFL championship?
How many
Once.
times has he won? Once. For
With-
Drew's Green Bay
Who's
Packers.
his quarterback?
Aaron Rodgers.
One of the absolute best quarterbacks in the NFL for the last decade could only win one championship. You're trying to tell me that coach going from Green Bay to Dallas now is going to do any better? Absolutely not.
Green
He
Bay
is
didn't have a
not a
defense.
Daniel, you
They had
can't.
a defense the year they won.
Not a great defense.
It was a good defense.
It was a good defense. I'm telling you, Mike McCarthy is not the coach who's going to change things around. The culture in Dallas is still going to be the same. Drew, what do you got to say to this?
The same. The same.
Drew, put him in his place. Put him in his place, Drew.
Well, when you talk about your crawling to walking to sprint, like, how can you expect to come into the season crawling and end up in the Super Bowl? That doesn't
That's
work like
every championship team.
No.
You gotta build it
that.
up.
No, it's not actually.
Yes.
No, it's not.
It takes time.
You crawl for too long, you don't make the playoffs.
Of course.
And when we
Of
talk about
course.
top tier teams, these should be teams that we're locking in for winning their division. I don't
I
think we're
am
doing
locking them in.
No.
that. We
You're wrong.
Just because
wrong.
you're opinionated against the Cowboys, and you're never going to choose the
the top
Cowboys.
tier teams are not questioned about whether they're going to win their division.
Then that's unfair to say for the NFC East.
What? Why?
Because we rotate who win the division every
Yeah,
year.
so there's no top tier teams in there.
No, because top
So-
tier teams. Because Philly
there's-
was one.
It's
so you're not
okay.
saying-
There's no top tier teams in the
Fine.
NFC
You
East.
have a crappy division. It's fine.
You guys are gonna eat your words, and we're gonna remember.
How
them.
many times has the worst team in that division won the division the next year? That's not top tier. That's just a bunch
None.
of crappy teams
None.
trying to figure it out.
How many times? I don't know. What you tell me? Barely any.
I'm gonna have to look it up because I don't have the exact data. And now we got mumble fumbles. I'm not gonna spit anything out.
Okay, that's a good transition there. Okay, we're gonna redefine our mumble fumble a little bit because I think we all talk like this sometimes in our
Little bit
podcast.
stutter.
All right, we stutter. We kind of so listening through our podcast, we're gonna define it like this: a mumble is a mispronunciation of a word, like when Drew was trying to pronounce Yusuf Nurkic, and that's his first fumble of the year, and or I guess a mumble, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, that's a fumble by you.
Well, it's a mumble fumble, right? Either way. So it's a mispronunciation of a word or a name, and or an incorrect fact. Okay, and we're just gonna call it out. No buzzers, none of that gimmicky stuff. We're just gonna call it out, and we'll fact check it later. Okay, that's the game. And here is the score, the rundown. We won't even count today's yet. Okay, from the rundown from last episode is unfortunately Drew has 0 mumble fumbles. Way to go, Drew.
Thank you. Thank you.
Way to go. That
Thank
changed
you.
today, but way to go.
Thank you.
Joel, the coach, only had 1 mumble fumble, sitting in second place, and unfortunately myself had 2 mumble fumbles.
This will
But
be
that's
the
okay.
first contest that I'm happy to get second in.
That's good. Before we go anywhere else, we're going to be talking about the NHL right away, but we're going to hear another word from our sponsors.
Samara and Jane is an Australian-based accessories retailer with all of the latest fashion trends from around the world. Ladies, update your style game with gorgeous earrings, necklaces, and other jewelry for affordable prices. And guys, you can shop for that special lady in your life too. Use discount code SPORTSREV30 for 30% off your entire order. That's SPORTSREV30 for 30% off your entire order. Use discount code at checkout at samaraandjane.com.
All right, we're going to be talking some NHL. The 2 hub cities are Toronto and Edmonton. And this was interesting enough. Say, pardon me, Coach.
I'm just gagging at Edmonton.
Yeah. So this is the question that was going around. So out of the two hub cities, which will be the hosting the Stanley Cup? And actually, it's going to be the Stanley Cup and the conference finals. Okay. And it actually came out today that Edmonton is going to be getting both of those. So the question is, why Edmonton? You guys think this is a good idea? Should it be Toronto? What do you guys think?
I'm not sure why it matters all that much. There's not going to be fans in stands, and I don't know, having a place where, they're doing better with their COVID stats or whatever you want to call it. I don't think anyone wants to risk it in Toronto, but I don't even know why Toronto got picked as a host city, to be honest. But I can see why they picked Edmonton over Toronto.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't know if it really matters where the Stanley Cup is held.
The numbers here in Toronto for COVID actually have been leveling off pretty well. I think it's going to spike again because this Canada Day, there's video posts about all the beaches and stuff, and they're packed and ridiculous, but that's a different conversation. But I will say this. Edmonton has a legitimate chance, in my opinion, to make it to the Stanley Cup. If they actually made it there and the Stanley Cup is hosted there, I think, like, the
it
buzz
still doesn't
in that
matter.
city. Well, I think it does. Honestly, I think it does because you know where they're going when they win the Stanley Cup? They're going and they're celebrating. That city's going to be totally breaking all 6 feet, staying away, social distancing rules.
I think here's the thing. When I first heard Edmonton, I completely blanked on that there's going to be no fans. I'm like, Edmonton is such a dump of a city and blah, 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 blah.
Whoa.
No fans. I think you're right, Drew. It doesn't really matter in terms of where
sports Reverends fans that live in Edmonton.
But for me, I was really surprised to pick two Canadian cities. I figured with the quarantining and crossing the border that it'd be easier just to have them in the States. But it's interesting because there are a lot of Canadian teams in the playoffs, and I think you're absolutely right, Daniel. I think Edmonton could make the finals, Western Conference Finals for sure, and then even make the Stanley Cup. But it's just kind of a weird. You don't really think of Edmonton as a host city for most things, but it'll be interesting to see how this all goes through, especially with and Drew's right with the COVID numbers in Toronto. If they decide that this was a mistake later down the road, just in terms of like perception and pushing hockey, but I think either way you'd see a rabid fans outside and in the cities celebrating hockey overall, regardless of who's and where.
In that sense. Go ahead.
Could it be the comment, like why they pick Canadian cities? Could it be the percentage of Canadian-born players in the NHL? And most of them, I think, would be at home right now, right?
Possibly, yeah. That's a good point.
I think it's a brilliant move to make it Canadian cities because most of their revenue comes from Canada, right? And most of their viewership comes from Canada, and that's our thing. So I think that's going to be really good for hockey, especially because everything's slowed down right now. All eyes are going to be on there. Yeah, baseball will be starting, and obviously there'll be eyes on baseball too, and basketball will be starting as well. But hockey is Canada's game. So I think that's going to be just huge for viewership and revenue in that sense.
Especially if there is a Canadian team.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you never know with all this weird situation, right? It's going to be it's not going to be so easy to predict. I guess hockey is not easy to predict anyways, right?
No,
eighth seeds would be number one seeds in hockey.
We've seen eighth seeds win the cup in the last, like the Kings did it less than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, even look at St. Louis last year. Turn of the calendar year, they're at the bottom of the league, and it's going this massive run.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do that.
Getting a hot goalie.
Yeah.
You get a hot goalie, and you can steal games and steal series.
Which I think is something we're gonna have to watch for in all these other playoff rounds is who can get it together quickly, and which goalies are gonna bail out the team. So that's kind of why I like the Jets, because Hellebuck is stuck in his head the entire time, and it's not.
But
really
it's also why you got to give Montreal a chance in their series as well, even though they're going up against Pittsburgh.
Like, that would be so crazy if they beat Pittsburgh. Like, and then they'll have all the momentum going forward. Like, oh man. But okay, so this brings up the question: do you guys really think that a Canadian team has an actual chance of making the Stanley Cup this year?
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit. Like I said, Edmonton's got a good chance for sure. I think Winnipeg is a dark horse, with the goaltending situation being in their favor.
Yeah.
Especially in, like you said, who knows what's going to happen due to COVID? It's such a random thing to, restart. Like, this is an unprecedented situation across all major sports, right? In baseball, there's not enough games. Basketball and hockey, it's all bubble cities, So, I really think Edmonton's got a really strong chance. And I'm not sure about the eastern side of things, to be completely honest. My heart's tugging on Edmonton and then the Jets on the side for sure.
Yeah, I'm rolling with you on that. I'm for sure hanging on to the Jets here. I'm gonna ride the Jets wave and Helly, and like our goalie conversation. Hopefully he can stay and continue to be unbelievable, and they'll have an actual shot. Drew, tell us why we're wrong.
I like the Edmonton pick. They have two of the best players in the league. The two top scorers in the league, and I think it's going to be, if anyone has a chance to win or end up in the finals, it's going to be one of those two Alberta teams. I think Calgary has
That's good.
Great young team, and their goalie has been hot and cold, but if he gets hot at the right time, I think they have the offense and defense to put it all together.
I really expected a Maple Leafs pick to come through.
I'm not going to jinx myself and say anything about the Leafs.
That's good. That's good.
I just want us to
That's a
get
good call.
by Columbus.
Yeah, let them get by Columbus. Let's take it as
talk.
This
take
is the
it as
whole
a first
crawling
round
thing
playoff
we're
win.
talking
Eh?
about.
Yeah.
Is it really considered a first round playoff win?
Absolutely.
I don't know. Yeah.
Put an asterisk up beside it.
Oh,
All roads lead through Boston, though. So
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Even with the reseeding, potentially not though, right?
well, eventually they'll have to play Boston
Yeah, that's true.
to get to
But
the
get all home games.
They're all home games for everybody though.
Yeah, but there's something about having your actual arena.
That's true. They're gonna be, and they're in their own homes,
Yeah.
right? That's an unfair advantage, really.
Will they be in their own homes? I don't know if they'll be actually allowed to stay in their own homes.
Oh yeah, maybe they'll move them out of their homes into a hotel, a bubbled hotel.
I think
You're still you're still in your home city,
Yeah.
which is something, right?
Well, they can
I don't
barely afford to live in Toronto. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Well, let's hear another commercial, and we're gonna get into some more Canadian special sports moments. With no sports to watch on TV, esports have been shooting off the charts. What are esports, you may ask? Well, basically, it's competitive video gaming. Esports are fun to watch, and my favorite gamer to watch is a guy named Vandalize. Vandalize plays a variety of consoles and games, including the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. What makes him so unique is that he plays these games with the controller upside down. It is a talent unlike any other. You can check his Twitch stream out, and you can find the link in the Sports Reverends Instagram bio, or you can search him up on Twitch, Vandalized, with 2 Z's or Z's. His control will be upside down.
Welcome back to the Sports Reverends podcast. We thought it'd be fun to look at some of the best Canadian sports moments of all time. Is it Paul Henderson's goal? Is it Sid the Kid's goal? What do you think? We got lots of other examples, but what do you think, Coach?
I
Let's
think
throw it to you, Coach. Yeah, Coach, you go first.
I already said that, Dan. Calm down.
I was just going to make the comment of because he has the most experience with history. He's a little bit older.
As the old man of the group, you're not far behind, Dan. As the old man of the group, like for me, one thing that really sticks out
Never
to
gonna
me,
catch up.
yeah, unless I die. Um, one thing for me is
We can do your funeral.
that really sticks out for me is Joe Carter's home run. That and Donovan Bailey winning the gold medal in the 100 meters. Because for growing up, those were such iconic moments. I believe Joe Carter's home run, I actually watched it live. I know for sure I watched Donovan Bailey's gold medal live.
We were in the city. We were in Toronto.
Yeah, but I mean, do you really count Brampton as Toronto? I don't know.
Well, GTA. Yeah, GTA.
We were all in Brampton at that time.
We were all. No, you weren't. Were you alive? How old are you?
Yeah, I was born in 92.
Oh, we were all. That's so weird, dude.
So yeah, more random things that no one wants to care about. But it was iconic because just like how the Raptors won the first NBA championship, this was the first in both situations for a Canadian. For baseball, really?
They won in 92 first. This was 93.
Right. All right. That's a fumble on me.
Woo!
But it was just so iconic hearing the crack of the bat and Donovan Bailey just exploding out of the blocks. We talk about Vince Carter and Steve Nash for basketball. Donovan Bailey really kickstarted things for track and field here in Canada for sure. And that's even though it hasn't been a ton of Canadian wins, but there's more interest in track and field now that Donovan Bailey has gone around, in my opinion, at least.
Is it Andre DeGrasse, right? He's our guy now.
Yeah, he's the guy now. Him and Bolt are buddies. So,
buddy sighting! Yes, this is the greatest day ever. Mumble fumbles, buddies. It's my turn now. Yeah, that's a great answer, Joel. There's so much in Canadian history. And for me, one of the huge ones was the golden goal, Sid the Kid's goal that was just so uniting. It just felt like, the whole nation was at one together. And I love that. And obviously there's been actually a couple of good answers from our Instagram that came in. Someone sent in George St. Pierre. George St. Pierre holds the record for the most title defenses in the UFC welterweight division with 9. And he's like a legendary UFC fighter. So that's pretty cool.
And he's in the Rumble movie.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know which one?
It's going to be Winter Soldier, I believe.
I think you're right, too. Okay, and then, yeah, oh my goodness. That's really cool that we're all in Brampton for
that's really interesting.
For the Blue Jays. It's because we're all not together in the GTA while the Jays aren't winning. So you guys got to move out here. But obviously, guys, you guys got to know my favorite. My favorite was the Raptors championship run, specifically the shot from Kawhi Leonard, Game 7 of Philly. But the whole championship run is that's like a Canadian heritage moment. Like, who would ever thought Toronto would win an NBA title? Like, it's just so many years of pain and sadness. And
we're just happy to get the expansion money from Toronto.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So, yeah, that's mine. What do you think, Drew?
Well, it pains me to say it just because I cannot stand Sidney Crosby, but the golden goal has to be my favorite just because of the backstory of Team Canada from the 2006 Olympics, finishing in 7th.
Yeah.
There was so much pressure going into it, being in Vancouver, putting this team together. And for Sidney Crosby to be the one to score the goal, you can't really write a better story than that in overtime against the States. I still don't know how that puck went in the net. If you watch that, he basically shot it from behind the goal line.
Yeah.
And it goes in. But,
it's insane. It's insane.
And the celebration is iconic too, eh? Like,
Yeah, just everyone throwing their gloves in the air. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
I love it. Is it more? It's bigger to you than Paul Henderson's, eh?
Well, it's hard with Paul Henderson, right? Like 72 was
There's
a
no
long time.
attachment there.
Yeah,
Right,
I-
all the old
but-
heads that are not listening to our podcast are.
but I did get to meet Paul Henderson, which is
Oh,
pretty
yeah?
cool.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, I actually have a picture, him and my dad, together when I was about 10 years old, which is pretty
Nice.
cool.
Pretty legendary, yeah.
It obviously comes to mind when I think of Canadian sports moments because it's always on the replays when they talk about it on TSN or whatever. But the one that sticks out in my mind the most is Sidney Crosby.
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And you nailed it on the head. Like the absolute perfect guy to score and the absolute perfect time for some sort of movie. It's just you can't write a better script than that.
I love it. I love it. The House of Common is 10 guys, 10 different perspectives on every and any topic. If you like to laugh, subscribe to their channel. If you like to learn, subscribe to their channel. If you like to be challenged, subscribe to their channel. All you got to do is subscribe on YouTube, and it will be one of the best decisions you can make. Check it out, The House of Common. All right, well, let's get into our next topic. In the NBA, in the 80s, it was Magic and Bird. In the 90s, it was Michael. In the 2000s, it was Kobe and Duncan.
My boy.
In the 2010s, I don't know if that's how you say it, it was LBJ for the most part and Curry. Who is going to dominate the 2020s in the National Basketball Association?
I'm going. This is not really a controversial pick, but I really think it's going to be Luka Doncic. I know a lot of people are jumping on the Zion bandwagon, even Ja Morant, and those guys. But I think it's Luka Doncic just because he is so skilled in a wide array of ways. He is an underrated defender, obviously. I mean, he's got some work to do there, but young guys, typically, especially those ones come from Europe, have to do that. But he can shoot, he can rebound, he gets the assists. Like, he's on kind of that walking almost triple-double watch a lot of times. And compared to guys who are just one skill only, like a Trae Young just seems to be a scorer, I think Luka elevates his teammates to the next level. And you've seen so many analysts, you've seen so many guys saying he's definitely going to win an MVP. You know, they think that he has a chance to win multiple championships. And so that's why I think he's going to be in the conversation for sure. And it's hard to guarantee championships just because of team building. But I think on a personal play level, I think Luka is going to be one of the, if not the best player of the decade.
Yeah, that's what do you think, Drew?
Well, that was mine.
Right.
So I'm sort of scrambling here.
You can agree with me. You know, we're right about the Cowboys.
I can agree with you for sure, but I want to give.
Can we just say, before you say anything, can we just say we got to stop dumping on Trae Young? Like, he's also just as young. He's putting up ridiculous numbers, and he does more than just score. He
does not play defense.
Like, that's also like Luka. Does he really play defense?
Luka plays way
he's
better
not
defense.
the worst
than Trae
defender
Young.
in the NBA.
Do you think Trae Young's the worst defender?
He is.
Like, statistically?
He's ranked near
Yeah.
the bottom, yeah.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Here's why I say
He drops
Trae-
dimes is all I was trying to say.
Here's the thing I say about Trae Young. His effective weapon is that long three-pointer. And when he's off, it creates so much difficulty on the way back, that especially on defense, that it puts Atlanta in a bad position. Sure, he'll hit. Let's just say he goes 3 for 10. Those 7 other possessions could be used more effectively, I think, to elevate his teammates. Yeah, he has I think it's close to the high 20s for points and almost double digits in assists, but his team is so bad. So bad.
Yeah.
Especially in the East.
Just got to remember they're young, right? They're young.
I know, I get it.
And,
Steph Curry time.
but I think
Steph Curry
something
was injuries, just ankles. That's a different story than defense.
Go ahead, Drew.
Go ahead,
something we have to talk about though is that as much as I agree with the Doncic pick, these other players who are dominant in the NBA have championships. And do we really think the Mavericks, like, I think they could win a championship in the next 10 years, but do we think they're going to be a team that wins multiple? Because I think every player on this list has won multiple championships.
Yeah,
100%.
That's fair. Go ahead, Jano. Go ahead.
That's a great point, actually. It's got to be multiple championships, and what comes to mind is, to me, I'm debating either Giannis. Giannis has that drive. Giannis is still young. Giannis is gonna still get a lot better, and
Second
if
MVP.
he does end up leaving Milwaukee, even though he's in a position to win now in Milwaukee, in my opinion, if he does end up leaving Milwaukee, he's gonna go to a better situation, and that'll give him opportunities to win. My other thought is, like, he's only played 19 games or whatever plus games, is Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson's already NBA 2K cover athlete. He's
That's just a
kind of taking the league by storm. I think he's got such a high ceiling of so much of what he can do.
Yeah.
And I know this is, I don't know if this is politically correct or not, but has the NBA ever had a non-American face of the league?
Dirk Nowitzki?
He's never been the face of the league.
He was. I don't know. I would say, he was one of the superstars that they
He's a
marketed.
superstar, but he's not the face of the league, right? Come on.
Well, because he only won. If Dirk won 3 or 4,
yeah,
you can bet he'd be a face of the league. He only won 1.
Yeah, that's the thing. He only won 1. I think Giannis has the opportunity to win multiple ones, and he definitely has to get that. But we also have to remember, like Kawhi Leonard is only 29.
Yeah, but if you think we're talking about the 2020s, right? So in the next 10 years, I think Kawhi is going to phase out. Really,
Kawhi might be able to play to 38 because he takes.
Well, yeah, it depends how long he stays out of season.
What about like Anthony Davis?
Yeah, totally. How old is Anthony Davis?
Like 26 or 27, I think.
Mid-20s.
Like, absolutely, he's amazing.
And I think there's some championships coming his way for sure, right?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough thing because you need somebody who's going to have the longevity to play through all those years, like Kobe, Duncan, LeBron, Curry, Jordan, Magic Bird. They played for 10, almost 15 years, most of them, right? There's a long history of what they're playing, but they're also guys who can make their teammates better.
Yeah.
And the knock on Kawhi is, can he actually do that?
Well,
hold on. For multiple championships, right? I mean, that's the knock. I'm not saying that I agree with that, but that's kind of the knock on him. Giannis is that he can't shoot.
That's
which is fair because he can't hit a 3-pointer unless he really loads up. So there's holes to these guys' games that the younger guys can maybe take advantage of going forward. But I think Giannis is a good pick for sure, and Anthony Davis.
The one name that also has been thrown out through different analysts, I think you're pretty big on him too, Joel, is Jason Tatum, right?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, he's taken a significant leap from last year to this year, and I think Boston has the right tools to surround him with excellent players, and getting rid of Kyrie was a big thing for sure. But he's blossoming as a player, and that's a really good guy to bring up.
I can't stand. I agree with you 100%. I can't stand the Celtics. Once Kyrie left, though, like, I love Kemba Walker. Like, I kind of want to watch them.
Yeah,
but
here's a name I thought you'd bring up: Siakam.
Yeah, well, yeah, I definitely.
And the reason why I would say Siakam is we've seen exponential growth year over year over year.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
for sure.
if you had told me 2 years ago that Siakam would be the best player on the Raptors,
An all-star starter.
an all-star starter, I would have been like, you're joking.
Yeah.
You're like an absolute, yeah, he's good. He's long and lanky and whatever, but there's no way. I think quietly he has a chance to really do some damage.
I saw the biggest growth this year in his defense too. Like he's learned a lot from even Ibaka has learned a ton from Marc Gasol from his positioning, right?
Yeah.
And now I think Ibaka is a great defender too. I know this is turning into a Toronto thing, but I'm just saying Siakam has learned defense from the bigs, which he's good
And
at.
Kawhi.
And then exactly. And his perimeter defense is really good too.
Yeah.
That's why he's a guy that can actually cover 1 through 5. So
And that's the way the NBA is trending, right? The tall, lanky guys who can play multiple positions.
shots getting better. Yeah, he's gonna be up there. I just think the way Toronto plays is too team emphasized. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
But
we'll
if
see.
let's say he wins 2 or 3 more chips, well, kids got 4 by then. Who cares?
Yeah,
That's
so
a-
this is gonna be it's gonna be fun to watch the 2010s. Is there another guy coming up that's gonna just steal it?
One of the
don't know.
Ball brothers? No.
LaMelo? No.
LaMelo. And you know what? Here's the exciting part, though, that a lot of people really don't remember is basketball in the 2000s was awful. Like, it was so boring to watch. It was slow.
ISO.
Yeah, there are a few stars, but, like, it isn't like it is now, where there's a lot more competition throughout the league. It's really, like, there are some teams which are duds to watch, and you're like, league pass, skip. But you can find at least 2 or 3 games on a weekly basis that really are exciting, all the way through, and that's exciting overall.
Yeah, I think guys like even Kobe and Vince and Tracy McGrady, Iverson, they would do so much better in this kind of league, right? So much better flow, more help, all that kind of stuff. But
it's cool. That's exciting. I'm happy for basketball being in such a good spot.
Drew, do you think of anyone else that can be the face of the league?
Well, I don't know. Like I always bring up Jokic from the Nuggets, but I don't think he's a face of the league type. But I think he could be a dominant player over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And with that Nuggets team set up the way they are and how young they are with Jamal Murray, I think they could be set up for the next 10 years for sure. And they're both young. Like Jokic and
absolutely.
Murray are both young.
They can grow together.
Yeah.
Devin Booker might be another kid too.
Yeah.
Because
he already figure out what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, he's got to leave the Suns. The Suns are a terrible organization.
Yeah.
But the kid can just flat out score, and he can put on a show, which is what you really need.
Unlimited range.
Yeah. It's just too bad he's stuck in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about too many others that I would put up in that category, but I think that's pretty good. It's going to be a fun 2010s, however you say it.
2020s.
2020s. Is that how you say it, 2020s and 2010s?
I don't know. Because I know the double zeros are knots. They call them the knots. Knots, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, well, let's hear another word from our sponsors. Welcome back to the Sports Reverends podcast. We wanted to talk about which sport will be the most affected from the lack of fans or zero fans in the stands. Will it be the NFL, NHL, NBA, or MLB? Who's kicking it off first?
Well, I'll start just because I think we had talked about this before, and I had said hockey.
Yeah.
Which I still think, like momentum is set by the fans sometimes at the beginning of the games, like we see in Winnipeg with the whiteout, and really gets the players' juices flowing. But as I'm thinking more about it, I think it's football. And because the fans can actually have an effect on the football game in being so loud that the team can't hear the calls from the quarterback or the audibles or whatever, and they get time, whatever you call it, time violation in football, whatever it's called. a penalty.
Encroachment? I don't know.
Encroachment? No.
I have no idea what
Delay
it
of game, boys.
is.
Come on.
Late.
Should give you guys
Whatever.
mumble fumbles. It's okay. We'll give you guys a pass.
Anyways, yeah. So I think it's really the only sport where the fans can actually have an impact on the game.
It's a
That's why they
great point,
call
man.
fans
That's-
the 12th man, right? So I think I'm changing my answer to football.
What do you think, Dan?
You know, I probably lean towards football too, but I'm also thinking like the sports science of it for basketball plays a big factor. Like shooting free throws. I mentioned this before. It's been reported that Shaq could hit 100 free throws in a row in a practice facility. When it came to a game, the sports science of having fans around and behind the hoop and the screaming really affects your shots. So maybe that plays a big role. Maybe these guys will be a little bit more loose, be able to shoot better. Because in practice games and warm-ups, these guys can shoot the lights out. Like it's
Oh yeah.
like the level of skill of NBA players is ridiculous. So football for sure. I think that's a great point, Drew. I'm gonna say basketball just for the sake of argument because the sports science behind it. What do you think?
I think I think honestly Drew nailed it with the football one. That is one of the most clear examples of how fans can impact a match of any sort. So yeah, we'll go Drew. I think Drew wins this round for sure with the football one. I've been watching a lot of soccer across all different things, and I would have thought that fans would have a major impact there, but again, it really doesn't. Personally, I think I agree with basketball. Sports science or not, basketball is a game of runs, and your fans and we've all played it. Whoever else has played it, you know that if you go on a 10-point run, eventually other teams will come back with you with another run. It's just your job to make sure that run is less than 10 points. But the runs with the fans have such a big thing, and that's such a strategy for timeouts and all sorts of things. So I think in terms of basketball, players will have a hard time adjusting to not having fans around, and it's going to make them a little uneasy, I think, at least for sure in that first 8 games, because there's a lot on the line for all these teams, and you have to hit the ground running. And I think the fans and timeouts and strategy-wise, whoever coaches who can adjust will be able to manipulate that a lot easier than coaches who can't.
Yeah. Okay, so what will be – so we probably all agree football, but which one will be like the weirdest to not be able to have fans in the stands? Like, can you imagine a corner locking down a receiver and giving them all the trash talk, but like no one's around, like there's nothing here, you can't hear anything, or like you hit a buzzer beater shot and it's just like couple sounds.
Yeah. I think honestly, the what I'm looking most forward to is actually hockey. I think the sounds of hockey are really cool. So hearing them talk and the puck moving and skates going. But the weirdest one for me is going to be basketball, for sure.
I think the weirdest thing to see will be hockey without fans, because at a hockey game, when you watch it on TV, like there's fans like banging on the glass and stuff like that, and you actually see them in the shot. I know you do in basketball as well on the sidelines, but
there's no interaction.
Yeah. So I think that'll be the weirdest to watch on TV.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's
It's going
to
to
watch
be
with
interesting.
baseball though.
But beggars can't be choosers. We're going to be pumped for when sports return. Actually, July 23rd is the first baseball game that's official and is happening. So we're excited for that. Coach, can you tell us a little bit about our website as we wrap up?
Yeah, as we close today, website will be your gateway to all sorts of things that we're putting out on social media, all the polls we have going, links to Dan's Raptors report as well. I think he's pumped out a few over the last couple of weeks, so make sure you go give those a good read. And just a great way to interact with the Sports Revs community, to be honest. And so, yeah, make sure you check it out.
And make sure you're checking out our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you add us, like us, follow us, whatever you do on those things.
We're about
And
200 subscribers away on YouTube before we hit 2,000.
Yeah, which is
Wow.
awesome.
So
Which is
let's try. Maybe we can aim for 2,000 by the end of next week.
maybe I should subscribe.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go, 199.
We need 199 more. That's good. Well, guys, I'm glad we were able to have a fun couple episodes this week. Looking forward to next week as we get closer and closer to the start of real sports and everything happening. It's going to be awesome. Let us know some of your – you can actually tag us in different things you see that you want us to talk about or to hear about. Just put the hashtag, the sports revs, anywhere you love sports, and we'll check out that hashtag, go through all the stuff, and we appreciate it. Thanks for listening in, and it's time to say goodbye. Peace out, world.
Peace.
Peace.